Good evening.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
When you are an evaluator, you are to look at the speaker, evaluate with loving kindness on how they present themselves to you. But before I go on to what an evaluator does, besides provide purpose, positive, honest reaction in a constructive manner, I'd like to know that every role that we do in Toastmasters helps the evaluator do their job. Let me start with the Toastmaster. When the Toastmasters come up, they say, okay, next speaker is going to be speaking from the first assignment in the communications, and they have 4 to 6 minutes. It would help. Now, it's important that 4 to 6 minutes is one of the objectives, but it would help the evaluator and everyone who's here today to have the Toastmaster says, okay, the objective for that speech, and they don't have to make it long, quickly, the objective for that speech is to have the club know the speaker, give them a chance to speak for the first time, and their time is 4 to 6 minutes. Now this helps the evaluator because now it puts it back in their mind what they are looking for that project. Now, the general evaluator. The general evaluator, we know, evaluates the meeting. But the general evaluator is also supposed to give little quick evaluations on each evaluator. And this helps in 2 ways. This helps the evaluator themselves to see what they need to work on when they do another evaluation. I, for example, am a terrible evaluator. I evaluate like a teacher. So I don't evaluate too often because it's always nice to sandwich it in loving kindness, and I evaluate like I'm a mommy. And not only that, it'll help the other members who will be evaluating what they could do to make their evaluations better. And also, if you're planning to be in the contest, you've grown from the time you started to the point of the contest, and you know what you have a little tweak, or let me try this, and let me see if this fits me. Now, the speaker's role is to make sure the evaluator gets the manual, and also gives the evaluator and the speaker time to talk, because there may be something outside the objectives that you want to work on. For example, if you're a speaker and you're constantly holding on for dear life's sake, you may want the evaluator to say, no. And it doesn't have to be in front of everybody. It could be one-on-one afterwards, stating, you know, I noticed that you were holding on to the left turn a little hard. Were you nervous in that section? And you know, they could talk. Or, you know, I've been in clubs where the guys just have their hands in the pockets, and something that the evaluator could say, your speech was great, but you know, you gotta kind of work on keeping your hands out your pockets. So it's good for the evaluator and the speaker to talk, but it also will give the evaluator time to read what they're supposed to read. And now I'm going to get to that portion right now. So what does the evaluator have to do? Well, they have to prepare. They need to read the speech project. Now, if you don't come early enough for the evaluator to read the project, that kind of takes away the efficiency of evaluating your speech. Plus, in our manuals, there is a page that calls Evaluator Guide. And this helps the evaluator. It gives them questions. Did they do good? How was their vocal variety? Did they focus out in the audience, or did they stick close to the book and you couldn't see their face? Or did they talk this and the people in the back? They have to hear because the vocal variety wasn't loud enough. And like I said before, give them a chance to talk to the speaker. So my next part is, how do we say this? How do we give our evaluation? What are we supposed to say when we're giving our evaluation? Well, the first thing is the evaluator has to remember that they're talking for themselves. That means they can't give an opinion on your speech for everybody in the audience. They have to remember when they're giving their evaluation, it's their personal opinion. So you need to avoid different words like they say, the people say, because you can't speak for they and you can't speak for people. So that's something when you evaluate you have to remember. This is your opinion and you can only talk for yourself. We have a little guest with us today. Try to avoid impersonal statements. Use words that describes your reactions. Like, that speech was fantastic. I could relate to that. It reminded me of. That is to build up the speaker. Because we have advanced speakers, we have beginning speakers. Advanced speakers know how to control their nerves sometimes. And it's always nice to hear that you did a great job. And for a beginner, you're nervous. You really didn't want to speak tonight, but you know that you have to get over at least the first speech. So it's good to hear, you did fantastic. I was so impressed by. Always give a positive. And then along the way, when giving negatives, make it sound positive. We got a little lost in your speech, but you worked your way out of it and the speech flowed. Because every once in a while we all have a section in our speech where we're running away and we don't realize we're running away. But if we can bring ourselves back, that's a great feat. Express that so the person doesn't feel bad. But in all, when you give your evaluation, it's exactly the same way you give a speech. You need an opening, you need a body, and you need a closing. The difference is you only have 3 minutes to do it. And after all is said and done, that evaluator at the end of the night, when they give the manual, give another personal words of encouragement. Now, evaluations don't stop just with the evaluators. Every once in a while, on our table, we have what we call individual speaking evaluations. And this is for us who have no roles and who would like to evaluate the speaker. And it asks simple things, as you saw it. Their facial expressions, the approach, as you heard it. Maybe they didn't speak up very loud. Well, give them a little note. As I reacted to it, like, what was the purpose of the talk? Well, guess what? If our Toastmasters didn't give us an objective, could we really answer that truthfully when we're giving our little personal evaluation? So do you see what I'm trying to say to you? Even though the evaluator has a very important part, everybody here is here to assist the evaluator who is assisting the speaker to be the best speaker that they can. Thank you. Have a good evening.